Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Josh Snipes, and today we're going to be doing another How to Play an Operator. Now, How to Play an Operator is a series that I started and I plan to carry out through all of the operators. Now, before I keep going with the video, I just want to say thank you guys so much for the support. Got over 1,600 subs, going to be getting 1,700 subs. Also, we broke 40,000 views. Seriously, guys, thank you guys so much. I hope we can keep growing this channel, and I hope I can grow with you guys. I hope you guys learn a lot of stuff from this. Anyways, though, to get on with the video, if there are any big changes or nerfs or buffs, I'll make sure to remake this video with that updated information. Or at the very least, I'll leave you guys down a comment or annotation somewhere in the video, somewhere that you can see it. Now, Hibana got her nerf, and it's a huge nerf. You have to have all 6 pellets in order to break down hatches. It didn't used to be like that, but now it's like that. And so it'll be interesting to see how that kind of plays out in the new season. But this series is how to play an operator within a team environment, how to play with your team, and the role that you fill on that team. Now, these videos are subjective to what I've seen in Pro League, Challenger League, Go4s, how I play, and how I've seen others play. Also, it will help you whether you're solo queuing or if you're running in a 5-stack. Now, remember that different regions have different play styles and that individual players have personal preferences. But overall, I believe that this is how you should play the operator. Anyways, let's start off with how to play IQ. Now, she came at the beginning of the game, and she came with 3 other people. The second person on offense that she came with was Blitz, and the 2 defensive German operators is Bandit and Jaeger. Now, she's a 3-speed, 1 armor operator, so that means that she's going to be doing a lot of entry fragging. And especially with her gadgets and stuff that she has, she's really useful now with entry fragging. I wish they didn't get rid of her frag grenades, but it's just unfortunate, and I think she's still pretty strong. But anyways, to get on with it, the gadget that she has that makes her IQ is a sensor that goes on your wrist. So when you pull it up, you pull out your pistol. So you can use your pistol to shoot things, but you can't use any other gun. You can't use your primaries in order to shoot stuff. But that's fine because her pistol definitely does the job. I like the GSG9 pistol the most personally. I think the recoil is not that bad. So I really enjoy using IQ, especially as an entry fragger or even as a support operator, which I think she's more of a support now than she was before because they took away her frag grenades. But she definitely can enter buildings if she needs to, or if you want her to. She can go below sites and get different devices out, and she can see a lot of different things. Now, I'm going to go on a list and try to explain every single thing that she can see, either through ground or through the wall. But to give you an idea, her IQ gadget only works up to 15 meters. So if you can see it, it's within that 15-meter range. So this is a pretty long list, and I'm not going to show like each individual little thing that she has. Like, I'm not going to show it on the video, but I'm going to explain it and kind of tell you what it is, because I think that if you play the game, or once you start playing the game, you'll begin to understand exactly what I'm talking about. But let's start with the list. So the first thing that I think is kind of important, but I don't know necessarily if it's very important, is when you're playing on bomb, you can actually see the bombs, and you can see like the actual outline of the bombs. I don't know if this is too important, but if you haven't found the bombs yet during your prep phase, then this, I guess, could be very important, but normally a lot of people will find it during the prep phase. You can also find the bio container in secure. So when you're playing secure area, there's a little thing in the middle of the room that has a yellow light on it. You can also see that. Again, I don't know how important that is, but in case you don't ever find it and you need an IQ to find it, you can see it with that. Now, the more important stuff that she can really see, you can see the surveillance cams, which are the default cameras. It's the cameras that start on the map that aren't added onto at all by anyone else. They're the white, black ones, and they look like security cameras. You can also see nitro cells, which is actually pretty important because sometimes people will pre-place nitro cells, like say above doorways and stuff like that, to deny entries, or they'll pre-place it below. They want to get you from below. That's pretty important, though. I think that it really plays a good factor if you can definitely see those nitro cells that are pre-placed. But a nitro cell that's thrown into the air, you probably won't have a chance to shoot it. If you do, then you're a pretty good shot. Next, you have your bulletproof cameras. These were added into in the newer season. So I think that it's pretty important that you can see them. The only way you can shoot them, though, is shoot them from the side. So I guess if you're above, or if it's through a wall, you can probably get those off. But it's really cool that you can see those. You can also see mute signal disruptors, which is pretty important. Is say if you're on the roof of something and trying to just kind of point out what is where, you can have Thatcher throw an EMP at it, or Twitch come and get them. And you want to make sure you don't use your drones and run them through mutes jammers. Next, you have Capcan's entry denial devices, or EDD. Now, I think this is probably one of the more important ones that you need to be trying to find, especially if they're playing with the cap can. You can shoot it through the ground, you can shoot through a wall. Most importantly, you'll be able to see it in a doorway a lot farther away than if you're trying to check every single doorway that you're going to walk through. That's nonsense. But if you don't want to check every single doorway with your gadget, you can also use your drone, but the drone might just take a little bit longer, and you won't have your gun or anything like that with your drone in case you run into anyone. Next, you can see Jaeger's ADS devices. Again, this is another one of those very important things to take out, especially because they're going to be used on site. I'd say if you can get above site or below site, you should go and shoot those out before you can do anything. So that way you can use your smoke grenades or frag grenades or any sort of projectiles that you might have on your team. You can also see Bandit shock wires, and again, you can see it from below, you can see it from above. Especially if he's bandit tricking, you can kind of see him place at the last second. You probably just shoot him in the head if you time it correctly, but it's really important just to be able to see through the ground instead of just kind of randomly shooting and hoping you kill one. Now, this is a good counter for Pulse, and I mentioned this in the Pulse video, but Pulse is actually countered by IQ, and she can see him on his heartbeat scanner. So say if he's below the site and you're a couple walls away, you can see him and start to shoot at him. And if you time it correctly, you can actually shoot him in the head and get the kill. Next, you can see Smoke's remote gas grenades. Now, in lower ranks, I could see that someone would pre-place these, but once you get to higher ranks, they use these as throwables, and they don't really pre-place smoke grenades way too often. So I can't imagine that you would see them, but it's an option to see on your cam. Next, you have Valkyrie's black eye cams. The black eye cams are crazy important to actually get, and it's another one of those cameras that you're going to have to look out for. You have Echo's Yokai drone, Legion's Goo Mines, and Ella's Grismod. These are going to be things that you're going to see on site, and you really want to take them out as fast as you can. Now, you also can see Vigil's ERC7 Video Disruptor and Maestro's Evil Eyes, Alibi's Prismas, and the Bombers in Terrorist Hunt, but you're not going to probably be using it too much in Terrorist Hunt. Anyways, that concludes the gadget and what she can actually see. Now, moving on to IQ's loadout, we have 3 primaries that you can choose from. That's actually a lot of primaries, and the primaries are pretty good across the board. You have your AUG A2, your 5.52 Commando, and your G8A1. Now, if I were you, the G8A1, the only problem it has is it has a very large magazine, but it takes forever to aim down sights. So I would definitely go with one of the other 2. I would play around with the 2. I think the 5.52 Commando has a little bit more damage, I believe, and I think that it's overall a better gun, but I think that it's a lot less manageable with the recoil than the AUG is. But with that being said, the new recoil system's coming out, so that might also change. Next, for a secondary, you only have a P12. Now, again, I had said that earlier, P12 is probably my favorite pistol in the game. It's really easy to control. It's a really nice recoil. It's not bad at all. It's a lot good enough damage, moderate amount of damage, and I think it's overall a really good pistol to use. So you're going to end up using it with her gadget, so probably don't put a silencer on it, but I think you might be okay if you end up putting a silencer on it. Next, her gadgets. You have a choice between a breach charge and a claymore. Now, it kind of depends how you're going to play this. I would say if you're planning on using her as more of an entry fragger, play her with a breach charge. But if you're planning on using her as support, definitely go with the claymore. The breach charges can be used if you're playing, say, above objective or below, or you're trying to get into a building or something like that by hot breaching. It's pretty good for that, but other than that, you can't do very much for your team. Maybe blow holes open, but that's about it. But for the claymore, you can hold flanks and you can lock down different rooms and stuff like that, so people don't run in behind you or run in out of a window or anything like that. Now, next we're going to move on to the tips and tricks, and the first tip that I actually want to point out is that as IQ, you can actually see people go on their cameras. So if someone goes on their cameras and you're, say, above or below them, you can actually shoot them through the ground, given that the ground is able to be shot through. You actually shoot them through the ground because you can see them and you can kill them. This is going to be a really, really easy use if you end up using Dokkaebi, because people are going to have to turn off their phones, and as long as they're on their phones like that, you're going to be able to see them through the ground. Now, one thing that I did mention, but I feel like I should show you guys so that you guys know when you guys are playing IQ, is that she counters Pulse really, really well. And actually, she counters Pulse up to 15 meters. But with that being said, Pulse has his gadget out. So I would say 9 times out of 10, if you can see Pulse, he can probably see you. The only thing is hers is more of a constant, whereas Pulse's is more of a scan every couple or so seconds. and so he might not have the most exact location. Plus he can't pull his gun out, so he can't really, that's where he lacks a little bit, where IQ kind of does a lot better. But with that being said, you have to be really careful when you're trying to deal with the pulse, because say if you're below, you're gonna see a C4 on your IQ scanner. It's probably gonna be way too late to run out of there, but you can definitely see pulse the scanner, and I'll bring it up here that you guys can see it. It's a really useful tips and tricks that you guys can use. IQ doesn't really have any counters, I guess, besides maybe Frost, but I wouldn't call that a counter. But with that being said, I hope you guys liked what I showed you guys. I didn't have too many tips and tricks because IQ is a pretty straightforward character. Just takes out gadgets and stuff. So let me know though if there's any tips and tricks that I missed that you guys use. Anyways, that's gonna wrap things up for today. Make sure to check out the other videos. I leave a playlist in the card up top right corner. But that's gonna wrap things up. This is gonna be Josh Snipes signing off.
Oh, IQ, you're disgusting.
You have located a bomb.
Ready to leave.
Last one on A, go for B plant.
Must recover the diffuser.
God, dude.
One friendly.